Hey guys, and welcome to Thankful Thursdays again with myself, Kel, and also Rachel. So you'll notice that I've moved angles this week, and I'm actually just trying to sort of find where the best lighting is, because I'm having to cope with this unnatural lighting which the camera doesn't like, because despite me making the video at, it's just gone 4 o'clock here in England, it's also dark and dreary and horrible, so I need the light on. So anyway, I didn't make a video last week because yet again I was having computer problems and this modern technology doesn't seem to be very reliable. So the topic that's for this week, which Rachel will be answering, I've actually answered before a couple of months ago when I was hosting Thursdays on my own. So I thought what I would do is I'll answer last week's question that I didn't get the opportunity to answer, and I'll also put a link in the sidebar, whichever side that is, to the video that does answer this week's question, and so then I don't have to repeat myself and you can get the answer to the questions then. So today's question is about eating disorders and replacing the relationship with your eating disorder with other relationships during recovery. So I certainly know for me and for many people that I've spoken to who've had eating disorders, the eating disorder sort of becomes your best friend and your worst enemy all at once. And I also kind of found that sort of eating disordered voice in my head stopped me from trusting other people. I thought that my eating disorder was the only thing that had the right answers and it was the only thing that was being truthful with me. And so it can be really difficult to start to let other people back in and to start to build on different relationships again, and to not allow your life to revolve around your eating disorder anymore. I think that this is kind of a really important factor in my recovery, and it's something that I'm still working on now, because despite the job that I have and despite me doing things like this, I can sometimes be quite socially awkward, so it's something that I do continue to work on. But I think what's important is that you realise that relationships come in all different sorts of shapes and sizes, and that any relationship, whoever that might be, a friend, a family member, a colleague, whatever type of relationship that is, each single relationship is going to be slightly different, even if it's the same relationship, if you see what I mean. Like two friends, your relationship with two friends isn't going to be the same. And so you might find that that's something that you have to learn when you're recovering, because I know that as I sort of started to be open with people when I was recovering, different people took things different ways, and that sort of meant that some relationships flourished and some ended up not being what I thought they might have been. I think for me, and I imagine in many instances, the first sort of relationship that you build upon in recovery is the relationship with your counsellor or your therapist, whatever you want to call it. And I think because that's sort of a safe environment, and because that person accepts you, and because that person's there to support you, that's a really important relationship really to be building on, because obviously you're not going to get very far in your recovery if you're not talking to somebody. And also it's kind of okay to test things out there, and your therapist isn't going to get upset with you or angry with you in the same way that a friend might. And I think I've learned that friends can be much more judgmental because they don't understand it, whereas professionals kind of have more of an understanding about their job. In terms of friendships, I think I also found I lost a lot of my old friendships from before I was ill, and I ended up finding that I was just left with a lot of relationships with other people who had eating disorders. And in some ways that's great, because those people can understand you and you can share thoughts and feelings and they get it. But at the same time, you need to, if you're doing that, sort of understand, and the other person needs to understand, that everybody's recovery is their own and everybody recovers differently, and you need to ensure that you don't allow that to sort of pull you down.